I'm so happy to finally be here at Yogaglo. And the word of contemplation for today's class is a word I now use in regular conversation, but I never used it until a few weeks ago. Calibrate, or recalibrate. And the way in which this word is meaningful to me in relation to this practice is when I first started practicing, if you think of like being calibrated as being centered, that feeling just after class or during class when the yoga is really working, before I found this practice, I was so off-center, so emotional and topsy-turvy that when I started doing this practice, I was amazed at how different I could feel in just an hour and a half. Or, actually that's basically what I did. I always did an hour and a half. So an hour and a half class, which you're doing today. And I would feel so centered, and it was the most delicious thing. Like I remember specifically one time where I was so in such emotional upheaval, but I had promised myself that every day at 4 o'clock, for 5 days a week, every day at 4 o'clock, I would practice Hatha Yoga. And I had a specific sequence that I did. And I couldn't fathom getting on my mat, and I couldn't imagine even being able to lift my arms for that first sun salutation. But I forced myself to do it. My arms were really heavy. I just couldn't imagine even making it through one salutation. And that's when I had a real awakening to the power of this practice through contrast, is after 3 sun salutations, I truly felt so different. And I was no longer identified with the emotions that I had been feeling. And yet nowadays, when I practice, it's not so significant. There's not such a contrast, which for a while I thought maybe maybe something was wrong. I was missing something because I'd do an hour and a half practice and not feel much different. However, a couple times when life's got really busy, it doesn't happen too often, but like a week or two goes by without practicing on a regular basis, I start to pull away from that center, and I see how much of a difference that daily practice makes. And this idea of calibrate is usually associated with machines. Like, think of a scale. You know the scales back in the day, or maybe, who knows, in your bathroom, you see the zero, but it's a little bit off. And so it's not actually at zero, so you know when you stand on the scale, it's not actually going to tell the truth. Or where it matters, like if you go to a grocery store and the scale is just a little bit off, then all day long, as the food's weighed and sold, it's off. And so that's how I feel like if I don't practice on a given day, it's not a huge deal, but it is a little bit off. And the practice just locks me right back into place. And I'm hoping that as I'm talking about my experience of this practice, that also includes you. So speaking of practice, let's practice. Please take your palms together. The middle of your sternum, often said in front of your heart. And evenly press your fingers, your palms together, close your eyes. This alone is a very centering gesture, bringing your hands together at the midline. To step into our practice, both individually and as a group, let's sing the sound Om together 3 times. Please exhale. Take a full breath in. Release your hands, open your eyes. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Consciously deepen your breath. And ideally breathe only through your nose. Do you need mats or do you like the wood floor? Okay. Just checking. That's cool. Got a couple people like that. Possibly invoke the sound of Ujjayi pranayama, so you can hear the sound of your own breath. The sound, the Ujjayi, the ah, tends to promote a fuller breath, more powerful breath. Inhale, come into plank position. Exhale, bring your front body to the floor, lower your front body to the floor. Come all the way down. Behind your hips, behind your hands. Lift your shoulders onto your back, and with an inhale, lift your feet, lift your torso, lift your wrists up for locust variation. So little adjustments along the way make a big difference when it comes to maybe some of the harder poses, more complicated poses we do towards the end of class. For instance, here, bring your feet outer hip width apart. Point your kneecaps straight down. Press your tailbone down and really lift your feet, lift your torso, even lift your wrists a little. Then squeeze your feet together. If possible, even squeeze your palms together. That may not be possible, and that's fine. And then exhale, place the tops of your feet on the floor, hands by upper chest. Curl your toes under, and with an exhale, move into downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, and exhale, bend both knees, look up. Inhale, walk or jump forward, the front of your mat, with your feet outer hip width apart or together. And then exhale, fold. Take a few breaths here. Press your big toes down, flare your fourth, fifth toes, outer two toes, and tone your thighs. Lift your kneecaps. It's essential that in every stretch, you have strength. You're working your leg muscles as you stretch them. With an inhale, please stand up. Again, place your palms together. And exhale, take your arms by your side. Surya Namaskar, aligning with the sun. Inhale, lift your hands, look up. Maybe shoulder width apart or together. And then exhale, fold. And as you fold, strengthen your legs, keep them strong. Inhale, lift your chin, lengthen your spine. And exhale, step back, plank. Look down at your hands. Make sure your hands are a little wider than your shoulders. And notice how a lot of the weight's on the outer edge of your hands. That'll be the tendency. So slight recalibration. Press the inner edge of your hand down, especially your index knuckle. And like you're pressing your index knuckle down, press your tailbone down. And then inhale, expand the back of your body. Exhale, lower down, bring your upper arms parallel to the floor. Pause here. Instead of dropping your head, look a little bit forward. And then exhale, come all the way down. Here, press your feet into the floor. So point your toes, press your feet into the floor, squeeze your feet towards each other, press your tailbone down, and then lift your shoulders as high as your elbows. That's the chaturanga position. You can get some momentum here. Inhale, lift all the way up into upward facing dog. Make sure your arms are straight up and down, and then press your feet down towards each other, press your tailbone down. Look straight ahead. And do keep pushing down. That'll be fine for your shoulders instead of doing this. So keep pushing down with your hands. Look up a little. So really essential, keep pressing your feet down towards each other. Press your tailbone down to protect your low back. And then notice your hands. Put more weight on the inner edge of your hands than the outer edge. So actually make it even. Exhale, come into downward facing dog. Immediately in downward facing dog, instead of hanging out as if you're having a seat, waiting in line or something, expand into your downward facing dog. So breathe fully every inhale, fill the backs of your lungs, and with every exhalation, extend your hands down, stretch your hips back, even move your heels towards the floor. So you stretch your whole spine. That goes against where gravity would pull you. Bend both your knees, look up as you exhale. Inhale, walk or jump forward. I suggest jumping. That's jump time. Exhale, fold. Again, as you fold, be steady, strong in your legs, and then inhale, stand all the way up. Reach your hands up. Possibly even press your hands together. And then exhale, arms by your side. That was set number 1. Set number 2, inhale, lift your hands, look up. Exhale, fold. Place your hands in front of or beside your feet. Inhale, lift your chin, lengthen your spine. And exhale, step back, plank position. Open your fingers. Press your tailbone down. Inhale, expand into your back body. So move the sides of your ribs back, like that. And then exhale, lower halfway down, chaturanga, dandasana. Inhale here. Exhale, come all the way down, front body to floor. Again, press your feet down towards each other. Press your tailbone down. This is getting calibrated. Lift your shoulders as high as your elbows. Inhale, come into upward facing dog. Point your toes straight back. That's it. Yeah, and then come down for a second. You can take your hands back further. So instead of here, some of you are here, work towards more hips lower, closer to your hands like that. Exhale, downward facing dog. I was thinking last night that it isn't matter so much to me why people practice, how people practice, what people practice. For me, the most important thing is that people practice. So if why makes you practice, if what makes you practice, if how makes you practice, great. And yet I think what the best thing the practice has to offer is itself. Exhale, bend your knees, look up. Inhale, walk or jump forward. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stand all the way up, reach your hands up. Exhale, come back into mountain. One more, inhale. Move with your breath, like your breath. Exhale, fold. Fold a little more deeply as your back of your body opens up. Inhale, straighten your arms, look up. Exhale, step back again, plank. Inhale. Exhale, come all the way down. Inhale, rise up, upward facing dog. Hips, arms straight, hips off floor. Exhale, downward facing dog. So this morning, instead of offering a wildly creative class based on this word, calibrate, going to be more, there'll definitely be some wild stuff in there, but more exact and more standard, because again, like sun salutations as they are, without any kind of wild deviations or even subtle deviations, they work. And you guys are practiced yogins, you practice regularly, but even still, can you feel the effect these simple movements have on you? Exhale, bend your knees, look up. Jump forward, inhale. Keep looking up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand all the way up. Exhale, back to Samastitihi or Tadasana. Take your feet together. Then bend your knees so your thighs are parallel to the floor. Take your fingers at first beside your feet to the outside of your legs, and then even walk your fingertips, even if it's just 2 fingers, back behind your hips. And then look forward. Don't do what I'm about to do, but this action, cow, do that in your torso. Round your back. Tuck your chin towards your throat. Tuck your tailbone down forward. Pull your ribs away from your thighs. Now bind your hands behind your hips. Bring your shoulders up onto your back and stretch your arms vertical. Put your forehead on your knees. Fully round your back. So again, lower your hips so your thighs are parallel to the floor. Remember the scale that's a little bit off? Makes a difference. Thighs parallel to floor is thighs parallel, meaning hips as low as knees. Feel that strength in your legs. Keep that strength in your legs as you now take your hands to the floor, to the backs of your feet, back, and then start to stretch your legs straight. So have your hands shoulder width apart, but hands behind your feet, like way back here. Going deep into your Uttanasana. And then do the same thing, round your back. Press your tailbone straight down, pull your ribs away from your thighs. Make sure the outer edges of your thighs are strong. That's it, as you move your thighs back. Now take your hands forward, inhale, look up. And then exhale, hop back plank, and then come to the tops of your feet. So point your toes. Feet outer hip width apart. Then press the tops of your hands down, tops of the feet down, squeeze feet in, press tailbone down. And then instead of looking like me here, up, hips up, in plank. Hips up, in plank. Fill your back body like that. I'll do this one with you. And then go chaturanga. Hold 1, 2, 3. I wish I hadn't counted to 5 because I have to hold it with you. 4, 5, push back up. Even do this. Lift your hips a little, press your tailbone down, squeeze your feet together. Inhale. Exhale, lower all the way down. Slide your hands back about 2 inches. Inhale. One more upward facing dog. This time, as you can see me doing up here, do lower your hips a little. Take the tops of your shoulders back. And then inhale, lift your chin, look back. Exhale, roll over your toes into downward facing dog. Now, downward facing dog, I can tell by the sound of some of your breath, is a relief, like whew. And yet, do treat it as a refuge, and yet keep going. So sun salutations, there's movement. We're moving from A to B. It's not, downward facing dog is not pausing. So the way to keep moving in downward facing dog is keep expanding, keep turning in, expanding, so your forehead even gets closer and closer to the floor. With an inhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Keep your back heel up. Engage your tailbone. So press your tailbone down forward, tone your belly. Bring your right thigh parallel to the floor. And then inhale, come up into upward facing dog. Prep, hands on hips. How'd you know? Press your hands down, lift your shoulders up and back. And then that work we were doing in plank, instead of collapsing, moving your ribs back, move the sides of your ribs back. So bring a fullness into your back body. That's not easy, that's effort. Even base of your sternum, move it straight back. Then inhale, lift your arms up, open, extend your fingers. And move your arms, not just up, but also back. So squeeze your elbows straight, extend your fingers, move your arms up and back simultaneously like your ribs. Exhale, take your hands to the floor, jump switch. Same thing again, calibrate. Tailbone down forward, tone your belly. Inhale, rise up, hands to hips. Check your front hip. Is it as low as your knee? So bend your front knee until it is. Good. And the more you bend your front knee, the harder it is going to be to lengthen your spine, to move your ribs back. Do that work. It's cool. Move the base of your sternum straight back. Excellent work. Inhale, lift your arms. All the while we're doing these actions, how is it affecting your eyes? Is it diminishing your breath? Or are you able to Breathe fully, evenly, and with softness as you work like this. Again, exhale, take your fingers to the floor. Come into plank, inhale. Exhale, lower all the way down. This time, take your forehead to the floor. Behind your head, interlace your hands. Lift your elbows up, so behind your head. Bend your knees. With your knees bent, bring your knees outer hip width apart. Point your toes, and bring the inner edges of your feet together. Press your tailbone down, and then inhale, lift your head, elbows, knees up for crocodile. That really is the name of this pose. As you lift your feet up, keep your knees outer hip width apart. And as you lift your feet, lift the inner edges of your thighs up faster than the outer edges. So if anything, move the outer edge of your thighs down, inner edge up. Press the inner edge of your feet forward, pull the outer edges towards your knees. Some of you are very good at communicating to me with your breath. It's time to get out. Exhale, come into push-up position. This time, keep your hips on the floor and rise up, cobra, just like you did here. And instead of your hands being on your hips, your hands on the floor, do the same thing. Lift your shoulders up and back. Do lengthen your spine. And yet, as you curl back, keep your front body moving back. Pull your ribs back, base of your sternum back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, take your right hand on your right thigh. Inhale, lift your left arm up. Exhale, take your left shoulder to the outside of your knee. Place palms together. Point right elbow up. Look at your right hip. Is it higher than your right knee? If so, tack your right hip down. Then move your right knee out. Look up. Pressing tailbone down, toning belly. Start to twist. And as you twist, it's essential that you stay strong, steady in your hips. So moving right hip down is key. Tailbone down forward is key. Touch the floor, inhale with your fingers. Jump switch, go right to the other side. Take your left hand on your thigh. Lift your right hand up. And take your shoulder to your knee. Place palms together. Twists recalibrate the whole spine unless they completely tweak it. And the way not to tweak your spine, again, is actually first and foremost in your hips, or even starting with your legs. So straighten your back leg. Move your left knee out, not in. Tack your left hip down. Then draw your abs in, up. Inhale, touch the floor. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more lunge pose. Inhale, step your right foot forward. Pivot your back heel down. Foot at a 60-degree angle. Now notice your right knee just moved in. So move your right knee out. Even lean your whole body to the right so your right shin angles to the right. Then bind your hands behind your hips. Bring your shoulders onto your back. Stretch your arms straight and take your forehead to the floor inside your front foot. If your shoulders are tight, this is such good medicine for tight shoulders. Now you can see your right thigh. Make your right thigh parallel to the floor and outer edge of mat. That means some of you gotta widen your stance, bend your front knee more. That means some of you have to move your hips to the left, knee to the right. Inhale, touch the floor with your fingertips, lift your back heel vertical, jump switch. Pivot your heel down, bind your hands behind your hips, lift your shoulders on your back, and take your forehead towards the floor. And that's so much of what practice is about, is there's how you are in the pose, and then there's the pose. So you think like the 0 on the scale, that's right. That's where the scale needs to start. The scale might not be lined up with it. So it's the same, when I give this alignment, like move your hips to the right, move your left hip back, move your left knee out, that's bringing you more into biomechanical, if that's the right word, alignment. Inhale, touch the floor, lift your back heel. Exhale, step forward, front of mat. Bend your knees. Again, bring your thighs parallel to the floor. Hands to the outsides of your feet. Good news, this one's a little harder. Pull your ribs away from your thighs, and then lift your arms parallel, not vertical, to the floor. It's so much better. You wouldn't believe, though many of you know exactly how much better this is, easier this is. Pull your ribs away from your thighs as you sit back. So your hips are a little higher than your knees. Shift that. Stephen, yours aren't. But now lift your wrists as high as your shoulders. Now inhale, stand all the way up. Exhale, take your feet together, hands together. And then inhale, bend your knees. And exhale, take a wide stance. I'm not sure how it's done. Are you meant to face the middle? Yeah, sure. Okay, face the middle. I sensed that. I should know that, yeah. Otherwise, that would mess up the whole camera calibration. Lift your arms up, parallel to the floor. So create a straight line from the middle of your left ankle to the second toe mound, and then turn your right foot open 90 degrees. No, it is your left.
We're facing each other.
Okay, that's going to mess with me. Now look out past your right fingertips. Strengthen your right leg, inhale. Exhale, come into Trikonasana triangle pose. That popping sound. That's not necessarily a bad thing at all. If you can't really straighten your leg after this, it's a very bad thing. But speaking of straight legs, if your leg is straight, it's got to be strong. Even if you have the flexibility, like even if this is the easiest thing you've done all day, tone your right thigh because, again, it's not only for safety that we strengthen our muscles. There's a certain energetic quality to each pose. Inhale, stand up, turn on your feet. Exhale, Trikonasana to your left. Okay. All right, well, at least we had as many on the left as the right. That's balanced. And gaze up. And also in today's class, we're not doing any specific actions to prepare us for a specific pose. Focused Surya Namaskar, focused sun salutations can lend themselves to being prepared for any and every pose. Stand up, inhale, bring your feet parallel, and exhale, jump your feet together, hands together. Bend your knees, inhale. Exhale, take a wide stance. Set up to the right, inhale. Exhale, come into extended side angle. Take your right fingertips to the floor outside your right foot. Bring your arm across your face, point your palm down. Take your chin towards your armpit and gaze up. All that focus on your right leg, your right thigh, bring that in. So you just know exactly how to set up your front knee. Move your right knee out. So a key landmarks is right thigh, again, I've said it many times, parallel to floor and outer edge of mat. Inhale, stand up, turn on your feet, and exhale, go right to the other side. Like you've done in many poses today, move your ribs back. As you stretch your right hand, so be aware of your right hand and your right foot. Push your right foot down, like stand on the floor with your right foot so much, you get a little lift in your hips. Press your left heel down. And then being aware of your right hand, right foot, stretch your right hand away from your foot, fully. All the while, pull your sternum back, arm back. Stand up, inhale, feet parallel. Exhale, jump your feet together, hands together. Bend knees, inhale. Exhale, take a wide stance. Set up to the right. Inhale. Exhale, Trikonasana to the right. Look down. Keep your top hand up. Bend your front knee. Step your left foot towards your front foot, but don't come up into the pose. Just lift your left foot a little off the floor. Keep your top hand up, look down. Now make your left leg really strong. Move your tailbone forward. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, stretch your right leg straight, come into half moon. Then look up. What tends to be a little off, and I can see it in some of your feet, is your right foot will tend to turn a little bit in. Whew, this is not helping you. Maybe that'll help you. So right foot, same thing, straight line from middle of ankle to second toe mound. That's not being nitpicky. That turn all the way to the hip flexor will actually end up bothering your hip flexor a lot. Like, make your right leg strong, take the outer edge of your right leg straight back, tailbone in. Now look down, keep your top hand up, bend your right knee a little, left foot just above the floor. Next, exhale, come back into Trikonasana, wide stance. Inhale, stand up, Trikonasana. Turn on your feet, exhale, Trikonasana, other side. Look down, bend your front knee. Take your right foot forward, hover your foot right above the floor. Now make your right leg strong, move your tailbone in. Even move your left knee out a little, make sure your left foot's not turned in at all. And then exhale, straighten your left leg as you lift your right foot. Then gaze up past your thumb. That may not be possible, but you might be surprised where your thumb is. Like, oh, how did it get way back there? But that's creating clear aim, clear focus. Do what you did on the other side with your left leg, and now your right foot lifted a little higher than your hip. Can you feel your ribs? There is a little bit of collapsedness, so pull your base your sternum back, ribs back. Outer edge of your left leg back. Now look down. Bend your left knee, hover your right foot above the floor, and then with an exhale, come into Trikonasana. Stand up, inhale, bring your feet parallel. Exhale, jump your feet together, hands together. Inhale, bend knees. Exhale, take a wide stance. Set up to the right. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Slide your left hand down the outside of your left leg and swing your right arm across your face, reverse warrior two, until your right hand is almost over your left foot. There's a tendency when stretching up to just rise up. First, get grounded, so stay low in your right hip. Then again, stand on the floor with your left foot very strong, so there's even a lift in your left hip. Then pushing down with your left hand, stretch strong with your right hand, come back into warrior two. Straighten your front leg, bring your feet parallel, and exhale, jump your feet and hands together. Inhale, bend knees. Exhale, take a wide stance. Set up to the left. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Reverse warrior. Slide your hand down your leg, swing your arm overhead. Can you feel how specific or vague you might be? That's kind of a vague thing to say. But in relation to the shape, are you just, like, I know for so many years I would just bend my knee. I wouldn't think necessarily, where exactly am I headed in my front leg? Top hand, like have it over your back foot. Inhale, come back into warrior two. Bring your feet parallel, straighten your front leg. And then exhale, jump your feet together, hands together. This should work. Okay, so lean on, take hold of the outside. Actually, I'm going to be specific today. With your right hand, hold your right big toe with your first two fingers and thumb to the outside of your body. With your left hand, hold your left hip. If possible, bring your shin parallel to floor. Now, pull with your fingers on your foot, push with your foot on your fingers, and then begin to straighten or just straighten your right leg with your left hand on your hip. If you absolutely need the balance, take your left hand out. Turn, look to your left. Falling over is part of the pose. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, come back to standing. Set up other side, hand to hip, hand to toe. And really get your thumb and fingers together. Straighten your standing leg, lift your shin parallel to floor. This is to calibrate the muscle of the hamstrings. Pull with your hand, push with your foot, straighten your left leg. Then look to your right. To help balance, look at a still point on the floor, and all that's doing is creating internal focus. Move your left leg all the way out to the side. Then be more poised in your toe. Press your big toe straight up. Try and point it up as you flare your outer two toes. That's very specific. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, back to standing. Now face forward. And what's wild about that is the person who was having the hardest time balancing was probably also the most focused, maybe. So even though you were falling over, you come out and you're really in the midline. Take hold of your right ankle with your right hand. And look at my foot. It's not just how it happens to be. I'm flexing my toes. I'm flexing my foot. Then take your right foot into your left elbow. So outer edge of foot into elbow. Pause. Look at your foot. Press the outer edge of your foot down. Flare your outer two toes. Wrap your right arm around your right knee. Interlace your fingers mid-shin. Then squeeze your elbows into your foot. Even pull your heel towards your hip as you, with your left elbow, you move your foot forward. Now stand up tall, 12 seconds. And you standing up tall will feel, you'll be rounded over, that's fine. Straighten your left leg 100%. Try and get your head above your hips. So exhale, take your right foot back to the floor. Hold your left ankle, flex your foot. Put the outer edge of your foot to the crook of your elbow. Wrap your left arm around your knee. Interlace your fingers. Then squeeze with your elbows on your knee. Then start to stand up tall. Yeah, so focus on this with your eyes the whole time. Keep standing taller like down dog. Keep going deeper. In the full pose, shin parallel to floor with knee and ankle equally forward. Exhale back to standing. Take hold of your right foot behind your right hip. Lift your left arm straight up. Open, extend fingers. Then first reach forward with your hand. Now that's the last time. So now instead, lift your left shoulder up, pull back. Lift your chin. Keep pulling back the whole time, pull back. Press your tailbone down forward, tone your belly. Then move your right knee down, right shoulder up. Inhale completely, and exhale, come into the yogi dancer. Kick your thigh parallel to floor. Instead of reaching forward with your left shoulder, move your shoulder up and back, so you're attempting to be like you were in upward dog. Both shoulders evenly back, chest up. So you got to kick your foot up and back more. Head up, chest up, 3 more seconds, and exhale, release. Other side. Be exact in your arm. Open, extend fingers. And then again, reach forward to give you some momentum. Lift your shoulder up and back, but holding your foot behind you. Hold your left foot. Press your tailbone down forward, tone your belly. Again, move your left knee down, left shoulder up, back. Ribs back, inhale. 25 seconds, dancing yogi left. So in honor of calibration, I was doing horribly at the beginning, but now I'm getting better and better at making sure your left side and right side are the exact same. Do you know when your left thigh is parallel to the floor? How do you know? You have to just know. That's like the drishti. 5 more seconds. And exhale, release. Please come into downward facing dog. In no special way. Does the you in this downward facing dog feel different than the you that did the first downward facing dog today? And you've only done it really, yoga for a minimal amount of time at this point. With an inhale, step your right foot forward. Turn your right foot out, 30 degrees. Today it can't be 28 or 32, 30 degrees. Take your left knee to the floor. Lift your left foot up with your right hand. Hold your foot. Pull your heel to your hip. And then pause here. Get these calibrations in. Press your tailbone down forward, tone your belly, and now squeeze your back knee, front foot towards each other. And keep squeezing. Now move your hips down and forward. Very important, pull your heel to your hip. Why is that very important? Otherwise, you don't get a quad stretch. The thigh tends to pop forward and you get a psoas strain. So pull your heel to your hip. And even turn the top of your foot out more. Flare your toes. Yeah, now get into a back bend. Think cobra. Think upward dog, including your bottom shoulder. Move it back. Back bends mean length, so don't go back if you don't have the length. Exhale, touch the floor, hand and foot, jump switch. Reach back, take hold of your other foot. Twisted monkey, left. Pull your heel to your hip. And then the shape of your foot matters. So your foot is turning so that your toes are pointing towards this wall. Instead, turn your toes out. Squeeze your back knee, foot towards each other in midline of body. Move your hips down forward. Tailbone down forward. Are you getting sick of me saying low belly in up? I'm not. I can say it all day, as long as it's relevant to the pose. And then your front shoulder's doing this, your bottom shoulder's doing this. So walk your hand out more and turn your hand, even turn your hand a little bit out so you can curl. This is a radical pose. It's a thigh stretch. It's a twist. It's a back bend. It's Superman. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend both knees. Inhale, jump forward, look up. Exhale, fold. Even though your legs are a little tired, maybe they're not, tone them. Inhale, stand up. They're not tired of toning. Exhale. Set up just like you had before, here, and come right into standing position. If this is too much, you can also do this, where you still hold your foot, put your right forearm on your inner thigh, hand on your outer shin to protect your knee. Either way, bend your left knee, put your ankle onto your knee. Then place your fingertips to the floor. This is phase 1 of Ekapada Galavasana prep. And that may be too much. So you could also do this, palms together, forearms on shins. And make sure you're working your foot. That's key. Then if this is no problem, tiptoe. Walk your hands forward, place your palms flat on the floor. Then bend both elbows and grab hold of your left shoulder or left elbow with your right foot. Then put your right knee above your right shoulder. Lean forward. And lift your back foot up off the floor. If you can lift it off the floor, straighten your left leg parallel to the floor. And hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take your left foot back where it was. Slowly come up. Yep. Then interlace fingers. Stand up. Exhale right back to standing. Moving from here to shin on armpits is not easy. And one technique is to move one at a time, where you take first your knee, actually, then your foot. So first, knee to armpit, then foot to armpit, like that. Then lean forward, lift up. Also, back leg, being specific, for this one, bring it parallel to the floor and turn your kneecap straight down. Should we do the same side over or move to the other side? Move to the other side, okay. Baby cradle, stand up. And you might be way rounded here. To stand up at all is intense in your hip. The thing is, though, you got to work your left ankle more and move your outer. You're on the right. You want to be on the right? Move your outer hip forward. Okay, take ankle on knee. As you do that, take your knee a little bit out to the side. Place fingertips to the floor. Calibrate yourself to your potential. You can do this one day. Maybe not today, and you might, if you're using blocks, you should have 2 blocks. Walk your hands forward, take your palms flat on the floor. Try it. Take your knee first to your armpit. Then, with your foot, grab hold of your arm. Now you got to make sure your leg is strong as you lean forward, because this is intense on the knee. And get your foot off the floor. If you can get your leg parallel, go parallel. That's it. Point your kneecap straight down, good. This time, exhale right into push-up position. I meant chaturanga. Lucky you. You thought I meant plank. Come all the way down. Curl up into cobra. Inhale, right into downward facing dog. Balance on your, actually, balance in a sideways plank, yeah, on your right hand and right foot. Lift your top hand up, take your left foot down in front of your hips. There you go. Exhale, downward facing dog. Switch sides. Just get the basic feel of this. Step your right foot in front of you, reach your hand up, look up. Now most of you, the outer edge of your left foot is on the floor. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to shift that. Balance on your right hand, right foot. Take your left foot behind you this time. Keep your right leg straight, straighten it if it's not straight. And then, pushing down forward with your hands, move your hips up, back, bend your right knee, and step on the floor with your right foot, but don't turn your foot in at all. Keep your right foot as it was. So outer edge of foot still parallel to front of the room. So turn your foot out. There. Lift your hand up. Lift your hand up. This isn't what you think. Lift your hand up. This is not wild thing. Then, again, standing on your right foot, lift your left foot up and hold, knee bent. Hold the outside of your foot with your hand. Keeping your right knee bent, hips up. Yeah, the wood floor is tough. Okay, we have, okay, misunderstandings. Okay, come out. Misunderstandings, or maybe you have different preferences than me. So here to here to here to there, or here to here to here. And what I'm doing right now is jutting forward here, so instead pull back. Vashisthasana. Come into downward facing dog. This one we're going to take two, because if it wasn't being recorded, I wouldn't care so much, but the fact that 75% of you were in a completely different pose, and that's my misleading you, I know, so I'm taking that on. So balance on same hand, same foot. Right hand, right foot. Take your left foot behind you, lift your left hand up. Bend your right knee, step on the floor with your right foot. Lift your hips up, that's key. Push your hand down forward. Now, take hold of the outside of your foot, arm to inside of knee, way better. Keeping your knee bent. Try it this way, straighten first your top leg. It's easier to do, with strength. Then straighten your bottom leg. Exhale, downward facing dog. I'm glad we redid that, because that's almost the most I've ever seen a whole, in a group of people. Almost all of you came up. That's incredible. Bounce on your other hand, other foot. Vashisthasana, so invoking sage-like qualities. Calibrating ourselves with the sages. Lift your hand up. Take your foot behind you. Bend your right knee, stand on the floor. Left knee, sorry. Lift your right foot up, hold the outside of your foot. There you go. And straighten. One leg at a time. And hold, one. So actually, don't just get into the pose, hold the pose, perfect the pose. 3, straighten both legs if possible, but you gotta be strong. 4, 5, exhale, down dog. Come onto your front body. Rest, not because you need rest, but rest for the sake of invoking sensitivity. To soften. You know, I'm well aware that maybe the way I'm using calibration is wrong. So I'm just saying that for the record. But hopefully the way I'm using this word is getting across the message. Like, to calibrate yourself to the sages, maybe that's just not possible. Is that possible? Okay. Bend your knees, take hold of the outsides of your feet. Point your big toes straight up and out. And I'll do it with you. So instead of this, go here. Yes. Up. I know it's hard to figure up and out when you're in different positions. Press your tailbone down. And then even here, pull your feet a little bit apart so you feel your inner thighs lift. Now actually lift your inner thighs. They're lifting, but by chance, because you're pulling your feet out. Press your tailbone down, and then inhale, kick up. 15-second bow pose. As you kick up, try and face your feet straight ahead. Point your toes. To face your feet straight ahead, you got to pull the outer edge of your feet back, inner edge of your feet forward. Don't look at your feet, that won't help. You have to do it from inside. Exhale, release. Child's pose. Toes together, knees apart. Place your forehead on the floor, bind your hands behind your hips, lift your shoulders on your back, stretch your arms straight. Straight up as in vertical, but keep your hips on the floor, your hips on your heels. So this child's pose, hands bound. Keep you warm, in other words. All right, watch this one. From downward facing dog, step your back foot back, and instead of hand up, hand here. And then I'll lean forward to take weight off my foot and hold my foot with my hand. Same actions that we've been doing. So I'll just say that much. And then kick straight back. Look back. Where balance comes from in these poses is not the eyes. It's wild. It's little things like outer two toes, flex them, tailbone. And by using your inner awareness to align your body, and you see your body aligned, then it just holds steady. Because those actions are actions of steadiness. If, however, you just reach up, grab your foot, and are going from the outside in, you'll wobble and fall over. So come into downward facing dog. A little goes a long way. The little things like toes, tailbone goes a long way in these poses. Balance on your right hand, right foot. This is our last hand balance for the day. Take your arm alongside your body, point your palm down. So point your hand down behind your hip, step your foot back, left foot back on floor. Then lean forward into front body so your foot gets light. Now hold your foot with your hand, baby Kapinjalasana. Press your tailbone in, sternum back, and then kick back. Go ahead. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, right to downward facing dog. Inhale in downward facing dog. Exhale, switch sides. Take your right foot behind you, right hand alongside you, point your palm down. Now, left bicep, pause here. Turn your left bicep straight ahead. That's the back bend action. Externally rotate your arm. Then leaning forward, bend your knee, hold your foot. Holding your foot, press your tailbone forward, kick your foot back, and hold. Got it. 1, 2, kick straight back. 3, 4, keep breathing. 5, exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your right leg forward, pigeon. Then do downward facing dog-like action in your pigeon. So come here and here. So this is a little different. Stretch your arms straight, hands shoulder width apart. Press your hands down. Rest your head, but press your hands down, lift your shoulders up. Take the top of your left foot to the floor. Stretch your left leg straight so your kneecap lifts up. Then pressing tailbone down, lift ribs up, round ribs. So it's very much an active pigeon position. Crawl back now with your left foot to get your hips lower. To move back so the whole left portion of your thigh is on the floor. Then again, straighten your leg. Good, Stephen. Bend your back knee, Press your tailbone down. Walk up with your fingertips so you're in a cobra-like position or upward facing dog. Take your right hand right in front of your hips. With your left hand, reach back and hold the top of your foot. Actually, you guys know this. You just come into Ekapada Bekasana on your left. Then, like you did in Twisted Monkey, pull knees towards each other. Tailbone down forward. Lifting your spine. Exhale, release. Now watch. Go from here, get way back so the front portion of your thigh is on the floor. Front portion of your left thigh is on the floor. Then really press the top of your right foot down so your ankle lifts up. Then staying as low as you can in your hips, bend. Stay down in your hips, pull in. We may be here. That's not just fine. This could be optimal to be this high up. To be as low down as you are and bend your knee and pull your foot in might be too much. So calibration, too much is too much. Not enough is not enough. It's got to be perfect. And to the type A personality, the triple A personality, too much feels not quite enough. But you will pay a price. So exhale, release, switch sides. Come into pigeon. Downward facing dog pigeon. It's not actually a name of the pose, but it gives a kind of basic shape. So extend your arms out. Rest your head, place your hands on the floor. Press your hands down, lift your shoulders up. It's wild how little things like your back leg wavering out a little bit will in the back bends make a big difference. Now add the thigh stretch. So move your leg even a little bit more, midline, even more. So how you know your right leg straight back is your ankle's got to be a little more narrow than your hip. Reach back, pull your foot towards your hip. You okay? Oh, how you feeling? Okay. Ooh. Okay, well, feel free to ask me afterwards any questions. Right shoulder lifted up back. Okay, release. Get really close to the ground so you're with your right thigh. Let me just do a demonstration here of this. I love doing this one. If you're a little bit wider than the midline with your back foot, see, like I am, that's really not that much. Show that in upward facing dog, it's a lot. So you got to be straight back. Full pigeon and stuff makes a difference. Now do thigh stretch, keeping your hips down low. So you know full pigeon, it's like there's forever pigeon preps. But full pigeon isn't even this pose in back bend, right? That's half pigeon. But what am I saying about, okay, but half pigeon, eventually front thigh touches floor. That's the full pose. So this one, you got to be able to get here, down, to be able to get there. Okay, release. Bring your front body to the floor. Bend your knees, hold your ankles. Actually, let's do something a little different. Take hold of the outsides of your feet, but interlace your fingers around your feet. Where is this all going? Where is this all heading towards? It's not going anywhere. This is just a practice that starts and eventually ends. Yeah, so try and get your, watch my hands like this. And lift your shoulders. Then kick up. But still use your legs. Engage your inner thighs, lift your inner thighs as you press your tailbone down. Really good. Now even see if you can get your heels together. That's it. Then kick up fully. That's beautiful. Exhale, release. Bend your knees, hold the outsides of your feet. But don't interlace your fingers this time. Point your big toes up, flare your toes. Press your tailbone down. Inhale, kick up. Now, this is really important on this one. Lift your biceps straight up. Turn your biceps out, lift them up. And then together, so you're not running into each other, exhale, roll to your right. Pause here. Push your right knee head down to scoot your hips forward and get your right shoulder back. You got to get your right shoulder back. This way. Then kick both feet back. Shoulder back, there. Kick both feet back evenly. Move. Yeah, good. No, you had, I was just checking. Work your ankles more here. Come back on front body. Don't roll onto someone's foot, though. Kick up. Move your biceps out, and then go to the other side. So you didn't seem to take me seriously about this scooching. Push your head, left knee into the floor, and scooch. Scooch is a technical term, forward, so you're not on your shoulder anymore. Then kick straight back. Look up and over your shoulder. But have your sternum vertical. Don't tilt one way or the other. That's the calibration. Straight up. Come back center. Last one, kick up. Exhale, come down. Then come up, have a seat on your heels. You probably got me there. But I should say what part of the shoulders. That's good to be, that's really good actually. So if you're on this side of your shoulder jamming in, it's not healthy. But watch, so imagine the floor is here. If I do this, you could say I'm actually on my pec or chest. And so maybe you can see it here. Because this, let's say my shoulders are kind of tight like this, then I go to roll like that. This is the scoocher. And then kick back. So yes, I still am on my shoulder. What part of my shoulder am I on? Yeah, right here. Right there. Wish I had an exact name for it, but. The what? The something process. Couldn't quite hear. All right, come into an upright kneeling position. Oh no, we're going to do camel? No. Reach back with your hands and place your palms flat on your calves. This is where it can be kind of like folding clothes, sort of not really paying much attention, or perfect calibration where you move your calf so that there's as much calf muscle on the inside as there outside of your legs. Then iron them back. Have a seat between your heels. Take the skin underneath your ankles out as you also squeeze your heels in. Move the front of your knees, skin of the front of your knees forward. Now, this is as far as we go, some of you. You might need to actually be seated on a block or on your hips. If you can go further, go all the way back, stretch your arms back, Supta Virasana. Enjoy your breath. A restorative pose is a pose that requires minimal effort. Minimal effort is press tops of feet down, squeeze ankles in. It's fine to have knees go a little wider than hips. Don't squeeze your knees together though. So in general, have your thighs parallel or a little wider is fine. Try not to collapse your ankles out. So like we've done a lot, point your big toes straight back, squeeze your ankles in, you got it. Now place your hands by your ears. Press your hands down, just don't lift up or anything, but press your hands down, press your feet down. As you press your feet down, squeeze your heels in. Then draw your inner thighs towards the floor, lift your tailbone, and from here, lift your head up, chest up, stretch your arms straight, put your head on the floor. Walk your hands back, and make sure your hands are shoulder width apart. Then pressing the floor, squeezing your shins in, stretch your arms straight. And exhale, come all the way down.
When you said hands back, you mean towards feet? Yes.
Walk your hands. Yeah, that is what I meant, but I was seeing if I just made a mistake. Take hold of your heels with your hands. Come up one elbow at a time. Come into downward facing dog again. Come onto your knees. Come into an upright kneeling position. Last few back bends, a lot of back bends in the sequence. So like we did way back when in Warrior One, lift your shoulders up and back. And instead of moving into your front body, pull your front body back. Grab the floor with your toes. Squeeze your shins towards each other. Then inhale, lift your chest up, look up. Then exhale, curl back. If you have the flexibility, put your hands on your feet. If you don't have the flexibility, that just means you don't have the flexibility yet. And maybe you'll never have the flexibility, and that's fine. Always, again, calibrate to where you're at, not where you think you should be or even want to be necessarily. If possible, place your palms flat on your soles of your feet, so your fingertips are touching the floor just past your toes. And yet, kick the floor with your feet, move your hips forward as you curl back. Good. And you can keep curling back, just keep your hands on your hips right there. Inhale, come up, keep your head back as you come up. Exhale, Supta Virasana. We're going to do one more back bend. In this last back bend, you can do Ustrasana again, or do Supta Virasana. If you can do Supta Virasana, do Supta Virasana. We're going to do Kapotasana to end. What is Kapotasana? Full pigeon. In advanced poses, not advanced poses, in challenging poses, one of the biggest challenges is to stay aware and not go into basically hold your breath mode. Place your hands by your head or come into an upright kneeling position. I'll just stay there. Those of you about to go into Kapotasana, I'll show you full pigeon. Those of you doing, Ustrasana camel can come here, fingers to heels eventually, palms to feet, even fingers to floor, and then thighs as straight up and down as possible. Place your hands on the floor or on your hips. I'm going to talk you through Kapotasana. Those of you who can do it, come up on top of your head. Pause, squeeze your shins in. Then take your hands a little closer to your feet, and from here, stretch your arms straight. As you stretch your arms straight, squeeze your ankles in, squeeze your shins in, and then walk in as far as you can. And then come down onto your forearms as you reach back to hold your toes or heels. There's nothing like this pose for the upper back. Crawl in with your fingers until your elbows touch the floor. Keep crawling. Yeah, there's nothing to grip. That's better. And come out or up, as the case may be. If you're in Supta Virasana, stay there. If you are in Ustrasana, come into child's pose. So Kapotasana happened to be in our sequence, but it wasn't given any more validation or emphasis or focus as any other pose. And then there's definitely times when it's great to build an entire sequence around one pose and have that pose be the focus. Please come into a seated position. Sitting towards the back of your mat, stretch your legs straight ahead. Lean onto your left hip, grab your right hip, pull it back. Notice when I did that, my whole one leg got shorter than the other. So this can be a sort of like, oh good, casual moment. Or all the way to the very end of practice, being really specific. Especially towards the end of class, calming down our nervous system, the exact alignment really matters a lot. Take your fingertips behind you, hands behind hips, hands wider than shoulders. Then strengthening your legs, lift your low back in and up. Inhale. Actually take 5 breaths here. Ujjayi breaths. So look out as you look in. Count your breaths. That's the Instead of pulling your inhalation to the top of the inhale, just inhale as you're inhaling. Exhale as you're exhaling. Listen to the sound of your breath. Keep the sound steady from start to finish. Please exhale. Being heavy in your sit bones, inhale, lengthen your spine. Keep the length of your spine. Exhale. Touch the tops of your feet with your hands, or if you have a lot of flexibility, outer edge of your feet. With your legs strong, inhale, lengthen your spine, lift your shoulders. Exhale, fold over legs. 30 full seconds. If you can hold the outside of your feet, hold the outside of your feet. Press the top of your shin down, right above your kneecap. Squeeze. Press your hands down, lift your shoulders up. And bend your elbows out to the side, not down. That's it. Inhale, come up. Slide your hands back about a foot. Point your toes, squeeze your feet together. Lean your shoulders over your wrists. And inhale, lift up. This would be good. Tighten up the back, actually. Back of your body. And hold 1. Press down with your feet. Lift your hips up. Sternum up. 3. Press down the inner edge of your hands. 4. Squeeze your feet together. And 5. Exhale, come down. Walk your hips back. Hamstrings, back of thighs, move them out. Under sit bones, pull skin back. Then fingertips to the floor, inhale, lift. Take 3 to 5 Ujjayi breaths. Keep your eyes open. The calibration here is keep the sound of your breath steady from beginning to end of each breath. Slow down at the beginning of your inhale and exhale. Exhale. Feel with your fingers, is your low back curving in? If it's not, bend your knees until it does. Sitting up on blankets is ideal, is better than bending your knees. I think you're fine. Keep straight, just really be straight. There, you're fine. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Some of you are easily ready to bring your inner edges of your feet together. And even if you're really flexible, even take your palms flat on the floor beyond your feet so your arms are 100% straight, and bring your face into your shins. One of the easiest things to do in this practice is to try too hard. Those of you with your arms straight, palms flat on the floor, think downward facing dog. Press your hands down, lift your shoulders up. Same ujjayi focus. Breathe with as much awareness as you were when you were in staff pose. Inhale, come up. Lean back on your hips. Point your toes. I'll face you, or face the other way. Take your left foot to the outside of your right hip. Take your right foot to the outside of your knee. Then lean back on right fingertips, lift left arm. Anchor your right hip down, squeeze your feet in towards your hips, and then take your shoulder to your knee. One way to do that is take your right hand on your thigh and really bring your shoulder and knee together. Then don't look back, look forward, and hold the inside of your front foot with your hand. Then swing your right arm around and clip the top of your hip, then gaze back. This is less of a twist, but it's more of a forward fold. So it's a twisting forward fold, and therefore it's very quieting, calming. If you were just to have your elbow on your knee, fingers open, it can be a way more like a back bend. It's a twist and a back bend. Put your foot all the way against your hip. Now, reach again, and hold the inside of your foot this way, there. Resist a little in your left shoulder, and yet push your knee into your shoulder. Bend a little there. Bend here, top of foot to floor. With an inhale, look forward, come out. Switch sides. Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fishes pose. Lean back, reach your hand up. Lean back on your left hand, reach your right hand up. Take your shoulder to your knee. Stephanie, twist the other way or switch feet. The full pose is actually, you actually have I feel like mentioning this, you actually have a seat on your foot with, I learned this here. Someone was saying that, I think Scott told me this, that you have one sit bone on the inner heel, one sit bone on the toe mound, and twist. And gaze back. So a lot of these poses, like this one, Ardha Matsyendrasana, we can end up just doing prep, and not heading towards the form itself. And this is one of my favorite forms. Yeah, that's going to be intense on the floor. Turn your foot out more, and you can even lift your foot up to get it. It's fine. Come out for a second. Turn your arm this way.
Yeah, that was tweaking my elbow. So
Turn your arm that way, Wes?
yeah, this.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Overextending.
Okay, keep it facing the same way. Now bend, grab your foot. Now bend your elbow. Oh, it grabs, even if you bend.
Yeah, that wasn't feeling good.
So it's probably this is what is feeling good, is turning this way.
Yeah.
You can eventually keep that turning. Inhale, come out. Keep the turning this way as you open that way. But if it turns this way, then it gets it. Lie down your back. Last pose before Shavasana. Roll back. Basically do Paschimottanasana, which is this one, intense west stretch that stretches the whole back of your body, upside down. So roll on your back, grab your feet with your hands, take the tips of your toes to the floor if possible. This is not halasana, so stay on your upper back. And then move your hips down towards the front of the room. Hold the, that's good actually. So if you have a lot of flexibility, lower, lower, lower hips until shins come, again, right towards your face. Notice the quality in your face. Is there an over-efforting, a tightening of jaw? The key part of the practice is self-observation. The practice can offer more of itself to you when you observe you in the practice. So you can go there. You just keep your toes, your hips will lift a little bit when you go there. That's how it is, and no problem for you here. Then slowly roll out. And rest, take rest in Shavasana. Shavasana is within the 90 minutes of class because it's one of the postures of class. It's often the longest. So this is part of the practice. Receive the precious resource of rest, relaxation. Please deepen your breath. Bend your knees. Roll to your right. Stay here for a few moments. Possibly bring your forehead to the floor. Turn so far forward that you can bring your forehead to the floor and put the skin of your forehead on the floor in such a way that the skin moves towards your eyebrows. It's very calming. Use the support of your arms to come back seated, facing forward. Then please place your palms together, middle of sternum. Again, close your eyes. This practice of Hatha Yoga often offers itself to us in the form of a certain kind of presence, a mood. Can you feel ways in which your presence may have shifted in this short time? Again, that little bit can go a long way. A little bit each day. To conclude, let's sing the sound Om together one time. Please exhale. Take a deep breath in. As a way of honoring yourself, one another, the practice, Namaste.